343 just dropped the Inside Infinite blog for April, and while it's very focused on PC, there's a lot of Halo goodness for everyone. The blog opens by introducing us to two men by the name of Jeff Guy, no really that's his name, and Mike Romero. Jeff is the producer for Halo Infinite on PC, while Mike is the development lead on PC. They're asked about their personal backgrounds, and it's an incredibly interesting read, especially Jeff's personal journey to Seattle. I'll leave a link down below if you want to read it, and I recommend you do. A quick note, I've tried looking really hard for a picture of Jeff Guy online, and I can't find anything. He's an international man of mystery, an enigma. They're asked about the vision for Halo Infinite on PC, and they had some great answers. The goal for Halo Infinite is to make it feel organic, whatever system you play on. Instead of designing a game for consoles and then porting it to PC, Infinite began development with the PC version in mind, so modularity, customization, and flexibility actually informed the development of the game. They talk about things like support for non-Xbox controllers, aspect ratio settings, triple keybinds, advanced sensitivity sliders for your mouse, as well as a slew of graphics options and performance options. Something I found fascinating was that this incredibly customization-heavy approach to Infinite's game design had a side effect of enhancing the console version as well. Xbox players will have full button remapping. PC features like an FOV slider, as well as a couple of other things, will also be coming to console as well. They don't want Halo Infinite to feel locked down and unwilling to adjust to player demands. They want you to be able to tweak and modify it into an experience that's comfortable for what you need to game. Something I found really interesting was their breakdown on how they needed to consult with other teams in Halo Infinite's development when making code changes. It's easy to just expand a game's FOV, but it's a lot harder to expand the FOV without breaking the game. What if a different team didn't design their part of the game for an expanded FOV? A great example of this is Halo Reach on the MCC. At Reach's native field of view, stuff like the fog and clouds look great, right? But expand that FOV, and the fog starts to dance and distort in your vision in this very weird way. The reason why this is the case is because Bungie never designed Reach with an FOV slider in mind. As far as they knew back in 2010, the Xbox 360 version of Reach was always going to be how Reach looked, with no FOV sliders to speak of. Or we can look at the current lack of double keybinds in Halo MCC on PC. This wasn't a deliberate, lazy choice by 343. These games just weren't really designed with the concept of double key binding because Bungie developed them for consoles with a controller, and no knowledge that you maybe need double keybinds in the future. Halo Infinite is trying to take these factors into account while they make the game. They're considering these things from day one. They even mention that they want the HUD and menus to feel organic and easy to navigate no matter what aspect ratio you're playing at. This also includes, weirdly enough, a 4x3 mode for those who truly want a classic Halo experience. The HUD will be able to be completely toggled off for those who want a HUD-less experience, which, hey, that's really cool. I like when games let you do that. But Halo Infinite is also going to feature the ability to invite friends to your games via the standard stuff such as Steam and Xbox Live, but also Discord. I didn't even know that this was a thing. Apparently, some games on the market currently support the ability to shoot your friends a game invite via Discord. And it's kind of neat that Halo Infinite is going to be one of those games. But now let's go over some other stuff that I found interesting in this blog. Probably in the hopes of avoiding bad publicity that other major games receive, they want their anti-cheat system to be less intrusive and invasive, and will be taking a hard look at player data when designing and crafting their anti-cheat. They said that the battle with cheaters is never truly over. You just need to constantly adapt to new strategies that cheaters form. The game will also support dynamic resolution scaling with the ability to set a minimum and maximum frame rate to target for. This makes me really happy, but I do hope that there's a way to just disable it for those who do want a fixed resolution and don't mind the occasional frame rate drop. The anti-aliasing and texture filtering options in the menu seemed a bit vague. I'd love to know what exact kind of anti-aliasing the game is using and what low or high means. And for the texture filtering, I'd love to know what exactly each option means. Is high texture filtering 16 times anisotropic? Or something else? I don't know, but I'd like to see it expanded a bit. It appears for ranked play, player input devices will be locked at launch. You won't see mouse players going up against controller players in ranked, at least for now. They actually plan to keep expanding and building upon the feature list post-launch. Halo Infinite won't be a one-and-done deal. What we see at launch may be expanded upon in the future. They will add, build, and try to adapt to player requests over the years to come. I'm really happy with the incredibly player-driven, proactive approach they're designing Halo Infinite with. Since Halo was designed for consoles initially, it's always been a very stingy series with what it let players adjust and customize. For reference, 2015's Halo 5 was the first game in the series to actually let the player adjust audio levels for voice, music, and sounds independently. That's kinda sad. Before I end this, I do also want to briefly go over the actual screenshots that were shared. The Forerunner environments look stunning. It's insane how well the traditional Forerunner aesthetic from the Bungie days translates into high definition. I kept getting distracted while reading the blog because, well, look at this. It's beautiful. It's interesting seeing textures that I remember from Halo 3 actually properly modeled and part of the geometry now. There's also a hologram in the back that appears to be the Guardian of Epitaph from Halo 3. I won't speculate on what this could mean because there's not enough context, but that's really cool seeing that there. XLR8 on Twitter also noticed that the Brutes now feature goatees like in Halo 3. That means that Craig will be sporting some mighty fancy facial hair next time we see him. The Brute also seems to have an assault rifle or something holstered on his back. This makes me a bit anxious because I hope we're not going to be fighting too many enemies with hit scan weapons because honestly Halo flows a bit better when the enemies are armed with projectiles, but that's just me. Stoneboy11 shared with me what appears to be a Brute chopper sporting banished colors. This has me really excited since the Brute chopper is one of Halo's coolest vehicles. I guess it should have been a given that it would return. I just never considered it for some reason. Probably because Reach didn't have one. Some people noticed that the sidekick pistol looked a bit different on the HUD. Speculation was at first that this meant the game must have an attachment system, but 343 was quick to confirm that this wasn't the case. The sidekick got a new, more Halo-y model following community feedback. The silhouette of it kinda reminds me of a USP-45 from Call of Duty 4. See this grunt here? He lines up with a pack mule grunt, though as part of some Mega Bloks figure set or something. He seems to carry supplies with him on his back that you can scavenge upon death. Distant geometry is also coming along really well. A big issue that the Halo Infinite reveal last year had was how nothing beyond 30 or so feet of the camera looked really convincing. Trees looked rough, ground was rough, and the grass in general had that ugly plastic Halo 5 look to it. Now though, things are really improved. The game does a lot better at implying detail at a distance. Obviously no game can have an infinite draw distance, so seeing artists come up with clever new ways to just imply detail where there is none is kinda interesting, and it's cool to see Halo Infinite taking a stab at it now. People have been saying that this Brute and Jackal look toy-like, and I think the issues that people are having come from the way that the engine still seems to struggle a bit with making materials seem different from each other. If we look at the Jackal, who design-wise looks really cool, the red armor on his thighs barely looks any different from the leather bodysuit he's wearing, or the exposed skin on his feet. It's hard to tell if he's got metal on or if that's just leather or rubber that's been painted red. The whole thing looks like it's made from the same material and it's just been painted over. That Jackal is relatively far away from the camera though, so it may just be a distant LOD. But the Brute who's really up close, so close that we can tell he's got a goatee, his skin kinda looks like it's the same material as his bodysuit. And the blue metal pieces don't really look like metal, they kinda look like, well, the same leather of his bodysuit. If we look at Halo 3 quickly, the Brute's skin almost looks dry and flaky, with the metal being a lot more, well, metallic. It's easy to tell the material of his bodysuit and the metal armor is different from the material that makes up his skin. Not so easy to tell the difference in Halo Infinite. There's still a lot of time though left in the year, so hopefully they can get this sorted out before launch. As a whole, this was a great update, and they already teased us with what will be coming next. New gameplay. And I'm excited to see it. What did you think of the Inside Infinite blog for April? I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments section, and would you like me to continue covering the news for Halo in the future? Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.